Hey, what's up, y'all? If y'all tuning in, it's probably because, likely because y'all want to build on some muscle, right? So, what we're gonna do, I'm gonna take you through this PowerPoint and give you guys the game. Same thing I picked up, from here, right? I'm giving y'all this information at a hell of a discount. So, we're gonna go ahead and kick off this PowerPoint here. 1 second. All right. So again, this course is postable pecs, shoulders, and legs. So, for those who are really trying to change their body up, change up their phenotype, this is how you do it, right? If you know a friend, know someone who's trying to change their body comp, you wanna show them this video, tell them about this video, tell them to go ahead and follow Kinesiodelic. So, why would you want to build? For those who are looking into this, you probably want one to just go ahead and look good, right? You want to change the way you might feel about yourself, right? Might change the way you think you look. And lifting weights is, man, that's going to be the easiest way to do that, right? And that's definitely going to affect the way that you feel, right? Some of you might be picking up a role like in acting. You might have like a special occasion that's coming up. I know one friend who wanted to put on some weight, right? He wanted to look good. He wanted to look bigger, like more muscular for his wedding, right? So his wife wanted to slim down. So they had like very opposite goals, but still, they were able to watch this video. I gave them this information, and it has helped them. Some of you might be working toward a goal, right? Like you might want to, you might be talking to a friend, they're bench pressing, 225, and you want to do that too. Like you watch this video, this will definitely help you to get there, right? Or it might just be, getting back into work, into play, right? You want to condition your body, make yourself strong enough to where you can lift some things, you can push some people. Like I'm a physical therapist, right? So I gotta pick people up sometimes, like from the floor, get them out of bed, like get them really like moving. Some of them be like 6'3", 220 pounds. Like how do I move that person? This awkward weight. So I definitely got to do this weight training. I may not be, like bodybuilder swole, but I could definitely do that if I were to ramp up the intensity. And that's really what I'm going to show you guys today. It's really just about ramping up the intensity with the workouts that you're doing. So if you're new to my courses, go ahead and take out that pen and paper. For those who already have it out, good work for you. You're already one step ahead. But for any type of learning, man, like you want to apply the skills that you're obtaining, right? So the first thing that I have people do is just go out and get a pencil and paper, because once it's written down, right? I mean, you can type it out too if you feel like that might help for you. Like I'm a visual person, visual learner personally. Um, but man, you always want to apply it, and it's just much quicker if things have already written down. You already have like a plan in mind, right? To go off of. So we're going to be building a foundation. Like everything from this video is really all that you need. These are the essentials. These are the building blocks that get you to build some muscle. All right. So no matter what age you are, what gender you are, like a couple things to keep in mind, right, is that there's just some things that are just going to affect your ability to put on some muscle to get that body type that you're looking for, right? So I say the main one, the main one would be like hormones, right? Because some people, like, they're just born with like a lot of testosterone in their body, right? And they just got it, right? They respond to weightlifting very, very quickly, very rapidly, very healthily, and they're just naturally big people, Like they don't have to do a lot of work to get the body type that they're looking for. Whereas others, I'll just use like a very quick example, like men and women, right? Like women are gonna have like less testosterone in their body, and that testosterone hormone is what's going to help the muscle rebuild itself after it's been torn, right? Now we're gonna get to that in just a sec, because people hear muscle tear and it's like, oh no, but nah, it's a natural phenomena that occurs, right? Now I mentioned age because as we get older, people's diet begins to change. They might be more unsure because they just don't have the appetite, or like they might want to get into shape or get back into shape, or just want to maintain like that the healthy body type that they had when they were younger, as they were aging. That plays a part because like you're going to have to consume a little more protein than everyone else, right? After about the age of 50, right? Like the body starts to waste a little faster. And what I mean by that is like the muscles will start to grow weaker at a faster rate, right? So if I go to the gym and I do bench press, right, and I'm like trying to max out, like I'm gonna feel that for a little bit, right? And next time I go into the gym, I can probably put up that same weight, even if it's, I don't know, like 3 or 4 days after. You take that wide of a gap, for someone who's a little older, 3 or 4 days, and like that muscle might grow a little weaker faster than mine would. So again, that's just something to keep in mind. Um, Adaption potential, like that has more to do with like how quick your body responds, right? So this is kind of like with the aging thing, right? Like aging thing. That's where your body, again, some people, they can lift one weight, right? Like they can do one exercise and just get ripped off of that. Whereas other people, they might be doing the same weight, and it might feel like it's the same intensity, right? But the bodies just respond to it, right? And that has to do like with more of a like a neurophysiological aspect that has more to do with each individual's body type in response to stress or weight training, as well as just training level, right? Like some people, they like they've been lifting for a hell of a long time, right? Like so many years, right? And now they have to, they want to say, oh, I want to get like in shape. Well, like how hard would it be if you're already doing it, right? So for some of you, you might be newcomers, you might be new to like heavy weight training, and you're looking for like some quick gains. And man, like it's just, for some of you it might work, but for most of you it's just not going to happen, right? Like you've been going to the gym probably for like a month or two, and you're looking to have that same body type as the guy in the gym who's been going there for years, right? Who's been doing this for years, right? So that muscle, it's kind of like muscle memory, like that. It's burned in, it's ingrained in his body, right? Or his or her body, and or their body, and like they just got it. Like that muscle isn't going anywhere, and they're constantly working on it, right? Constantly working on it. And I say that would be, a little different for those at the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of age, right? Like we got this young kid here, young Hercules here, right? Like not all kids are gonna have that same body type, because everyone just develops, differently, right? Like some kids, it might not meet maturity until they're like 18, 19 years old, right? And then, when that happens, the body has this crazy, incredible, like rapid response to exercise where they can put on muscle easy. But, be up to that 18 years, it might have been like scrawny or something. Like, I just want you guys to keep this in mind, to where, you might be doing what I'm saying. You might be, applying the same principles that I'm teaching, but you get a little frustrated, right? And then you hit me up, and I'm like, all right, like what's your history? What's your family history? Like how long you've been doing this? Like how old are you? Like what's your diet looking like? Like I'm going to be picking your brain and try to figure out exactly like what is it, like where does that frustration comes from, and see whether or not it's at all rational, right? So the main thing that people have to do in order to put on some weight, to put on some muscle, the main thing that you have to do to put on muscle, say it again, the main thing that you have to do to put on muscle is just work harder and slower. That's it. Yep, you could do, I'd say, just about the same exercise that you already have been doing in the gym. You increase the intensity and you do it slower. That's the biggest thing that you can do, right? That's the main thing that you need to do, right? So for some of you, you already been doing it, right? You just have to wait a little while, right? So what the guy on the top left is doing, a main, you've probably seen this before. They're doing this deadlift exercise. They're using a large number of muscles, right? You're using a large number of muscles to lift this heavy ass weight, right? And what that's going to do for the body is stress the hell of it, right? Like you're going to be stressing that body so much from lifting this weight that you're going to get by a sort of a stress reaction, right? Because your body just doesn't crumble. Like people are a little too fragile these days, especially in the gym, right? Where they're just afraid of hurting something. And I get it, like you want to be safe, right? But like you're a lot stronger than you think you are. And it might help to like get a spotter, in the case that, you were right and you couldn't lift something. But you're a lot stronger than you think you are. So you really got to push it, right? And in terms of pushing it, I'm thinking like sets and reps, right? So if you do like 2 or 3 sets, or maybe just one set of, I don't know, like 5 repetitions, one set of 5 repetitions, you're not going to be stressing that body as much as you would if you were doing like 3 or 4, 5, 6 sets, right, of 8 or 10 repetitions, right? Like you're just doing so much more work, right? That your body is just being stressed and stressed and stressed. And like I said, it's always a little stronger than you think. And after you bring it through, after you take your body through that amount of stress, right? Like it only gets stronger, right? It's a whole saying like what doesn't kill you make you stronger. So what you end up doing is you pick up this heavy ass weight, right? You do it multiple times, and your body just adapts, right? And now the last thing, I got the snails on there, you're probably like, "Man, where does that even fit in?" Well, I'll tell you. So when you're lifting these weights, especially in the case that you're lowering, right, when you're bringing your body closer to the ground, it's in most cases, you know um sometimes it's a matter of lifting or moving a body part away from you, but most cases it's a lowering. You want to be very, very slow about it, right? And we call that an eccentric lift. That's ECCENTRIC, eccentric lift, right? And what you're doing is you're increasing the time under tension of the muscle. You're like, what does that mean? Well, you're increasing the amount of work that that muscle has to do over time, right? Because if I were to just, pick up a TV, right, it's in my hand, it's close to my body, right, and I just drop it, like there's no work required in dropping it, right? I mean, of course, I have to make sure it doesn't like fall on my foot or anything, but like, really, like to just let it slip out of my hands, that's nothing. But for me to have to like lower this thing like down to the ground, make sure I don't crack anything, I don't bust anything, and make sure like it gets there safely, like that's a lot of work, right? I got to make sure my body is positioned well. My legs have to like lower all that weight as well as my own body weight, like slowly to the ground. Like that could be a lot. And again, you're increasing the muscles time under tension. And that's again just another form of stress, right? Like you're lifting all this weight, you're doing it multiple times, and now you're increasing the amount of time that you're doing it. So you're doing a lot of work over time. That's going to equal a lot of muscle, I'm telling you. So, like I said, muscles break down. They do. Like it's totally normal for a muscle to like tear during exercise. Because what happens then is your body naturally patches it up, right? Like you do some squats, you might do some dips or something you haven't done it in a while, right? That feeling that you get the next day or even later that day, that feeling of fatigue, like you just put like a lot of work in because you were listening to these videos, right? Like that fatigue is your body kicking in and being like, man, like we gotta fix this, right? Like this person has took their body through the ringer in the gym. Like we got to patch up this muscle and that muscle and that muscle, and we got to make it stronger. So the next time, they try lifting that weight again, it doesn't break down, right? But of course, what do you do next time? You're going to increase the intensity, and your body just keeps on rebuilding, 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 and it's just layering the foundation brick after brick. That's really what it is, man. You break down that muscle, you recover, the muscle gets stronger, you break it down, you recover, get stronger, break it down, just wash and repeat, man, for real. So, the picture in the bottom left there, what I want to get you to visualize there is if you don't increase the intensity over time, you keep doing the same exercise over time, you might be able to maintain weight, you might be able to maintain, that a little bit of muscle that you've gained, but it's likely just going to stay there, right? Like it's never going to get larger, it's never going to get bigger. Like you have to do more work, right? And that's going to be like progress, whether it be the amount of sets or reps, whether it be the intensity or the resistance, right? Like the amount of weight, or again, like that time under tension. You stick to doing the same thing over and over and over. You see on the bottom left, man, that's exactly what you're going to get. You're going to look the same, right? And that's what led some of you to come to this video in the first place, right? You've been doing the same thing in the gym, and you're looking for results. Well, you got to do some work to get those results, man. That's it. So again, eccentrics. Again, this is like that lowering of the weight of the of the load that you're carrying, right? So if I have a dumbbell, I use the example of using the TV earlier, right? TV or refrigerator, I don't know. But if I'm holding something in my arm, it could be with the squat. I might have this across my back, right? I might be doing like a deadlift or something. Right? Yeah, let's use the case of a deadlift. So I done pulled all this weight up, shoulder blades are together, right? Like I'm squeezing my butt, like I'm good, right? Like I could just drop it from there, right? But that would be no work. Like what if instead, I were to like slowly bring myself back to that starting position, right? Like, of course I'm breathing, I'm not like holding all that in, but I'm slowly bringing that down. Right now, that muscle has to work twice. It has to lift up all that weight, right? And then it has to lower all that weight at a very, very slow pace, right? And now your muscle is working overtime. Man, I'm telling you, if you want to see some very, very quick results, man, like this is bottom line, man. You got to do this. You just got to add this to every type of exercise that you're doing, man, for real. And it's really just a matter of like keeping, you're pretending that weight, that dumbbell, the barbell, what have you, whatever it is, you're going to treat it like it's fragile, like a flower, like a vase or something. Like the last thing your mom and dad, your grandmother has ever given to you. You got to be gentle with it. And telling you, man, you do that, muscle's going to work a lot harder. They're going to get a lot stronger and a lot bigger. Talking real hypertrophy. And the last thing, man, is just volume. You know, like I got these people in the top left. Like that's just to show you lift so much weight, right? You use so much muscle. Some of it has to stick, right? You throw so much mud at the wall. Some of it has to stick, right? So you just keep lifting, lifting, lifting in terms of frequency, in terms of repetition, right? In terms of the amount of weight that you're putting on, in terms of the amount of time that you're using to bring that weight down, like during the eccentrics, the more work you do, the more muscle you're going to gain, right? And just over time, it's just going to accumulate fast, right? So you can have a really solid, first day of lifting, right? Just by going super slow or doing a bunch of sets and reps, right? And a bunch of weight, man. Like you gotta push that weight, right? The more weight you move, the more weight that's going to be coming to you for real. So the main thing, people want to know them like, well, what sort of exercises? Because I've been doing dips, I've been doing push-ups, like what I've been doing some ab exercises, like I'm just trying to build up that muscle, right? And it goes back to that chart that I was showing before, right? Where you might be doing like a lot of calisthenics or something, or you might be lifting heavy, but like you're just not pushing it. Like I can look up some muscle building exercises, and that's exactly what I did. Because I just want to show like these are common exercises. You see them all the time. And if you're in a gym where there's a bunch of machines, man, like most of the work is done for you because they tell you what muscle you're going to be using, right? So you're going to be working on your pecs. You're trying to build up your pecs. Just go to the machine where there's pecs, right? Throw up, I don't know, three, 4 sets of 8 to 10 repetitions. You're good, man. Moving slow the whole time, you're good, man. And you're going to be doing like 3 or 4 exercises like that. Like for every muscle group, you're always looking for like 3 or 4 exercises, right, to target that one group. And that's how you can really like hone in and focus on each particular muscle. But if you find an exercise where a lot of muscle groups are working at the same time, man, you're saving yourself so much time in the gym. And I'm going to get to that in a sec. But we got the squats. You can always have that, high trap. You can always do low trap. You can do goblet squats, front squats, split squats, Bulgarian squat. Like you can go crazy with it, right? Lunges, like there's so much that comes with squats. So one resource that I use, other than just going to the gym and seeing what other people are doing, I might do it myself with no weight, and see what muscles exactly are being used, see if it's worthwhile, right? And then, I'll ramp up the weight little by little, and I'll see if that works for me. Like I tried something new out today where I'm like kneeling and like stood up, right, with a barbell across my shoulders. Like I switch it up. I ain't never seen anyone do that, so I did it myself, right? You got bench press. That could always be like with the dumbbells. That doesn't have to be with the barbell. I use dumbbells when I do the bench press. I worked myself up to like 75, 80 pounds, right? But I, started with like 40 because 40 at that time was a lot of work for me. I just do like three or four repetitions. Sorry, 3 or 4 sets, 8 to 10 reps. Just banging it out like short rest periods. That's one thing I gotta talk to you guys about too. The short rest periods. We'll get to that as far as timing, and like what to expect over time. Deadlift is always going to be one of those great lifts because you have to use your arms, right? We're talking again like large muscle groups, right? So we have the lats coming in, the upper trap coming in. You got the glutes, of course. You got the hamstrings, quads. Like everything is being used during that deadlift. And I can say uh, the same thing with the squats. Overhead press, great shoulder and chest exercise. Pull-ups, a great shoulder exercise. And this guy, he has the weight around his, excuse me, around his waist, pulling him down. Like you can always switch it up. It could just be like a pull down exercise. Um, yeah, man. Like anytime that you're pushing overhead, right? Then you want to balance it out with like pulling yourself down or pulling yourself up, right? So you just no matter what you do, you definitely want to balance yourself out. So with the squats, you might be pressing away from the floor. With the deadlifts, you're lifting. Just you always want to mix up your body. You want to mix up your exercises, right? So um, a resource that I use is Stack Magazine. That's STACK. I try not to use too many bullet points because I really want you guys to be like listening and honing in on this. And you might have to do like a second listen, right? Just to make sure like everything was captured. But yeah, man, like I would go to Stack Magazine, look up like what are some quad exercises I can do in the gym, right? Like with free weights. What are the proper ways of doing like a clean jerk, right? And I might do that with like lightweight and just start to ramp that up as it gets easier, right? And then start to work on like hypertrophy and strength. Um, yeah, man, that goes with just about everything. But you see in these three graphics here, it's really the same exercises over and over and over, man. Like you got the bent over row, you got the overhead press, you got the bench press, you got the squat, you got the deadlift, right? You got clean jerk, lunges. Like it really ends up being all the same. The pull-ups, it ends up being the same. So you can really just go to the gym and just focus on these things, right? And you apply that same 3 or 4 sets, 8 to 10 repetitions, you're good. And I keep throwing those numbers out because that's personally what I do. But if you wanted to go crazy with it, you wanted to do like 5 or 6 sets, right? You want to do like more repetitions. Hey, all the better. I just don't have that energy nor time, right? And I'm also keeping in mind like my diet and what that might look for me, cost efficient wise, in a cost efficiency case, because I can't spend all day eating, and that's pretty much what's required. And of course, you can use like protein shakes, but like I like to go the more natural route. But that's me. Everyone's different. So again, I keep coming back to time. Oh man, I didn't know I got the coloring wrong there. Well, for those who man, oh well, there might be some of you may not be able to see this, so I'm gonna go ahead and say like in a day, right? Like it's been highlighted, but I'm gonna talk it out. But like 3 sets, 8 repetitions, right? And you're doing that like 3 times because you're focusing on like 3 muscle groups. This is like the bare minimum that you can do in the gym, right? Then we're talking like 72 repetitions total, right? Like you're doing 72 reps of, with 3 different exercises that you're keeping into account. And again, that's 3 sets, 8 reps, right? Then you're now adding on like 30 seconds in between each rep, because when you're doing the strength training, again, you want to increase the amount of work that you're doing over time. So if you decrease the amount of time that you're taking for rest breaks, right? Then over, let's just say, in this case, a 40-minute period, you have 40 minutes to kill in the gym, right? Like 36 of those minutes have been spent just lifting weights, right? So you're increasing the amount of work that you're doing over time. And what does that do? It's just going to increase the amount of muscle that you get to keep when you exit that gym, right? And then, let's say you want to go at the higher level. Again, that could have been like 5 or 6 sets. This is like something like I personally do. So I'm kind of like, showing you what works for me. Well, I'll take like 4 sets of 10 repetitions, right? And I'm doing 4 different exercises to focus on that main group, right? So that might look like pec flies, bench press, right? Like some decline and incline bench press, right? But what else? What else? Um, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe like some overhead press or something. I'm not sure. But that'll end up being 160 reps total. Like I've gotten that already calculated. Like I know what I'm gonna do before I even get to the gym. Like it's already mapped out, right? And I give myself 30 seconds of a rest break, right? Like between each exercise or between each set, right? Then I know I'm gonna be in the gym for at least 80 minutes, right? So it could be 36 minutes that I'm in the gym, or it could be 80, right? Like I'm just looking at the amount of time that I might have, like for myself, right? Um, so that's what's to occur like in the day, right? Like when I figure out like how much work I'm going to be doing next week, Monday, right? Like I know how much time I need to allot in the gym in order to meet my goal, right? I'd say after a month, and this is where I'll start to get into the training load chart here. But after a month, like things are just going to start to feel a little different, right? Like you're gonna feel like you're hitting your groove, like you're lifting these weights a little easier. And what's happening then? You have this neural adaptation. I mentioned this earlier, right? In the earlier slides. But those muscles, they just get used to it. They're like, all right, like my guy's been going to the gym consistently, right? Like he's gonna keep making us lift these weights. He's going to keep making us repair these muscles to where they get stronger and stronger. So let's do this. Let's take a look at all the exercises that they've been doing, right? And we're going to make it like so easy for him to where he doesn't need to use all these muscle fibers, right? Like he'll just use like a limited amount of muscle fibers, just really what he needs, right, in order to lift this weight. Even if he increases the weight, right? Like let's just give him only what he needs, and that's your body just becoming more efficient, right? So as you plan out, exactly like what you want to be lifting. You might want to be squatting 200 pounds. I have here 110 pounds. Maybe you want to be shoulder pressing that, right? You want to shoulder press 110 pounds, right? And I'll be like for a one rep max, right? Because you might be doing like I don't know, probably like 75 right now, right? I just got this chart from the NSCA, that's National Strength and Conditioning Association, right? So I do my CSCS, Certified Strength and Conditioning Coach. So I know all these numbers. Again, I'm giving you this for a discount. You don't got to pay for nothing except this course. Like you're good. Right, you don't got to spend three years in school like I did, really like seven years of school like I did. Spend all this money and use all this time just to get this information I'm giving to you for like under an hour, right? So you're doing 75 on the shoulder press, and you're like, all right, look, like I think I want to do like 110, or you might be feeling like I can rep out. I can do 100 pounds, right, on the shoulder press 8 times max. Like I can't do any more than that. My shoulders are just done, right? Then you'll just look at like where that 100 is, and you'll see that's going to be between that like 120, 130 pounds. So you might be like, all right, like I think I can one rep max 125, right? Then you make that your goal, and then you can work backwards. Be like, all right, like I'm gonna do 8 repetitions just over and over and over until I can do like 3 or 4 sets, right? And then I'm just gonna keep building from there, right? So maybe the next week after that, instead of doing 80 or 90 pounds, I'm gonna do let's say 80 or 90 pounds. I'm gonna do 90 or 100 pounds, right? And rep that out 6 to 8 times or 8 to 10 times. Like in any case, like you want to set yourself a goal and be like, all right, like this is what I'm gunning for. You might go to the gym and might try doing like a dumbbell bench press, right? And you're trying to you start off with like some lighter weight. You might get to like 45, 50 pounds. You might get to like 25 pounds, and you're like, damn, man, like that was a lot for my arms. Like I didn't think, I would only be able to do that once, right? This is even like after the warm up. Like, I didn't think I can do that once, right? So then your goal would be like, all right, like I'm gonna make it to where I could do a bench press with the dumbbells like 80 pounds rep max, right? And then you just work your way backwards again. You go back to that 80%, right? Between that 70 to 80%, you start working from there. You set that goal, you can build it out like per week to where, after, let's say, you start at 8 reps, right? You make a goal for 8 weeks out to where you can do that one rep max, right? After 8 weeks. Um, that's how I learned to train. That's how I learned to start to build up muscle. Like these are things you want to take over time, right? Like it's just not going to happen overnight. You need those muscles to adapt. You need them to go through that adaptation phase, right, to where they're using less muscle fibers to do that same amount of job. Because if you try going from 50 pounds to 100 like too quickly, right, like that's how you end up with those muscle tears. That's how you end up with the muscle strains. Like you're screwing up this ligament or that ligament, start to feel or hear some clicking in your shoulder and your knees, like that's just doing too much. And at that point, you definitely want to refer back to like mobility videos, right? And like getting back into strengthening, getting back into like strengthening the knees or loosening up the shoulders. But yeah, man, take your time. Really take your time with this stuff because it's really after 2 months. It's supposed to be like 16 training sessions, right? But if you're like, you might be doing that like a couple times a week, like two or three times a week. Like that really ends up being like 10 to 12 weeks, right? Where you actually start to get that hypertrophy that you're looking for. So those people who are looking for like a summer body, or you might be, I don't know, like 3 months out for your wedding, you got time. 3 weeks out for your gig, you got time. Of course, you could always like speed this up, pace it out, but man, the more work you do, the more muscle you're gonna maintain. Like definitely remember that. Set those goals, man. Really, really set goals. Um, I I think that this is like so important, man. Like if you're not keeping up with your dietary intake while you're doing all this muscle lifting, you're pretty much wasting your time, right? Because you can go to the gym, you can lift all this weight, right? But if you're not giving your body like the fuel that it needs, you're just breaking your body down, right? Like I was using the analogy before, where your body, it goes through that fatigue period, or it's feeling so tired, right? And that's because it's rebuilding the muscle that you just tore down in the gym. If you don't give, right, your body the tools that it needs to build up that muscle again, it's just going to stay, decrepit, right? Like it's just going to keep breaking down and breaking down and breaking down. And that's how people will go to like exhaustion, right? Where the next time they go to the gym, they're wondering why they can pick up the same weight. And that's because they're not giving their body like any gas, right? They're running their body into the ground, but they're not giving it any gas to run off of, right? So definitely after your workouts, right, and you want to do this quick. I've always tried to go like within the first 45 minutes after a workout. My wife, she'll go like an hour and a half after, but I wouldn't say anything more than that. Of You don't want to wait before you're getting some type of protein, as well as some type of like very very simple carb in your system, right? Because again, like your body is going through these different processes, right? Like it's already been going through like so much work that you just put in the gym, right? Like it needs something quick, just something to tell it like, hey, you're good. We got the refreshments. Like you got what you need. Like thank you so much for doing all that work. Like really treat your body well, man. Like it'll do some favors for you. So definitely get that simple carb in. You want something with on the high glycemic index level, right? So that's going to be anything greater than 70 and up to 100, right? These are going to be like those simple sugars, talking French fries, French fries, white rice, donuts. This is how Dwayne The Rock Johnson, where he has those, you've probably seen this. He had to, especially if you're a fan of his, you see like his layout of his cheat days and whatnot, right? And people see that and they're like, damn, like I can lift, I can eat whatever I want, right? In a way you can, but like not really. It's really because like he's been waking up at 5 o'clock, probably earlier than that, right? And going into the gym and lifting fucking the heaviest weight that he could possibly lift a million times, and that's how he maintains the body that he has, right? So he goes out and he has to fuel up, And that you've seen the spreads that he has, man. He has those simple sugars, right? But mixed in with that is a bunch of protein, right? So he's getting all this protein in with all these simple sugars. And that's just easy gas. That's easy energy for that body to go right to work and start repatching or patching up those muscles, right? So I say for those who are not Dwayne the Rock Johnson, he probably doesn't need to watch this video because he got this information from someone who probably also went to Columbia and gained a lot of information and fed that to him, and now he's good, right? If you're new to this, what you want to do in order to make sure that you're giving your body the fuel that it needs, you're probably already getting, some high glycemic index foods right after the workout, but you definitely need to increase your protein intake, right? So what I would do is take, a diary or a journal of all the foods that you're eating throughout the day, right? And this isn't so much like counting calories, but I try to figure out like how much protein, what percentage of protein am I getting, right, from all these foods that I'm eating. And what you want to do is try to double it, right? So like I have 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram a day, right? Well, if you know the conversion from pound to kilogram, right, like kilogram is going to be like 2.2 per pound. Think I did that right. So anyway, it ends up being, whatever weight that you have like on the bar, right? Especially if you're like lifting plates, like those are going to be what am I trying to say? Like it's going to be converted to where like you can get that in poundage, right? So if I weigh like 150, right? Then if I were to convert my poundage to kilogram, I can really like more or less like divide by two, right? And that's going to be like 75, right? So what you want to do then is you don't want to have 1 gram of protein like per your body weight. You want to double that, right? So you want to get it to where you're eating the same amount of grams of protein as what you weigh, right? Does that make sense? Like if you weigh 150, you want to put on 10 pounds of muscle, you want to be 160, right? Then you need to be eating like 160 grams of protein, right, in a day. And you can do that for sure, whether you're an eat meter, right? If you're a carnivore or a vegan, a vegetarian, pescatarian, like you can definitely do that with the aid of like protein shakes or whatnot, right? But like for me, like I can't go as hard as Dwayne the Rock Johnson. That dude has he has like chefs whipping it up for him, right? Like I don't have that. I gotta get to work. Like I'm constantly going, like I just don't have the time to put up those sort of numbers, but you can, especially if you got it. But again, man, like use that protein shake. You get the protein in. We got the tofu, milk. Use a lot of seeds, peanut butter. I know some of them they have fats too, right? And the seeds, that is, the seeds might have some fats, but like that fat, you're not too much worried about that because it's really the percentage of protein that you're getting, and that can definitely be broken down. The fats as you just continue to move because you're going to end up doing what's called a high intensity interval training with the type of workouts that you're doing where you're taking short rest periods and just going and going and going. You're going to burn that fat anyway, so you're going to end up solid with this protein with this approach, with this hypertrophy approach, that I'm giving to you. Um, the high glycemic carbs, I mentioned that. You just want to get a lot of that, um, almost the same as as the protein. Especially after the workout, just give your body some simple energy, let that go. If you're younger, you don't need as many high glycemic carbs because man, you won't know until you're much older, but your body just starts to slow down a little bit, right? But when you're young, your body just goes quick to repairing muscle, quick to repairing bones, tendons, what have you. Like you give your body a little stress. For young people, your body's going to adapt fast. So you don't actually need all that junk, right? I'm calling it junk. It doesn't have to be, but you don't necessarily need the high glycemic index foods. But older people, you definitely will. You want to get, like a healthy amount of that, right? And that's why it's so hard for some older people because they just don't have the appetite. So, I find something that just has, a bunch of high glycemic carbs. For some of you, you might be having to maintain like your dietary restriction. You might be having high cholesterol, high blood pressure, high blood sugars, things like that. So you'll definitely have to watch what you're consuming. But all the work that you're putting in, that probably just lowered your blood sugar, right? So you might have a leeway in getting a high sugar foods in, or those simple carbs in, because it will turn into sugar. um, as well as just for older people, like getting a lot of protein in with each meal, really, like throughout the day you're eating a lot of meals, right? Because again, like that body, your body is just going to start like really degrading, like very very rapid. No, I don't want to say rapid, but more fast than it would for that younger person, right? Like it's just going to start to like decay. So, it's just kind of like to recap at this point, like you definitely want to be doing a lot of weight all the time, over a period of time, over a good period of time, right? And to do that, you want to go back to that chart, right? You want to set some goals, say, I want to lift this amount, or I want to gain this amount of poundage, right? And you're going to know exactly then, like how much protein you need to be consuming. You're going to know how many sets and reps you need to be doing in the gym, what exercises you're going to be doing in the gym, right? And how much time you're going to be spending there, right? So you already have in mind how much weight you're going to be gaining, how much food you're going to be consuming. So you already got the grocery list down, right? You already got, where your protein, high glycemic index foods are coming from. Like you're good, right? And when you get to that gym, you're going to keep pushing it, right? So what I mean by that is like you might have set a goal for yourself to do like 225 on the bench, right? But as you're working toward that goal, you're like, damn, like this is actually getting a little easy, like too easy. Like what do you do, right? Then you're going to ramp that up. Not too much. You're not adding on like 20 pounds at a time. It'll likely be like 10%, right? Like 10 to 15% at a time. And then you add that, see what happens. Is that too easy? Then add like another 10%. Like do that until you're back to like that 8 reps, right? 8 to 10 reps. And once you do that, you're like, all right, like that was some work. Good. And do that like 2 or 3 more times so you can get like that 3 or 4 sets, right? Yeah, you definitely want a spotter. So when I was in high school and I started lifting crazy, I was doing snatches, cleans and jerks. Like I remember like doing bench press, and I was trying to push past 235, right? Like I was trying to get the 250. Well, I was repping 225 a couple of times, right? And I got to like number 6, and this is probably like my second set, and I'm like, damn, like I don't know how I'm going to reach this goal. Like, what am I going to do? Right. So I just completed the 6th rep, and I'm bringing that weight down, and I just couldn't get it back up. But my spotter, he's like, nope, you got to keep going. Right. So he's helping me to push that weight back up. And it's happening slow. I was doing eccentrics without even trying. Right. Like it was just so slow. But he's helping me. Like he's guiding me underneath my elbows, underneath my hands, and I get it up, right? So now I got 7 reps. I just finished 7, right? And he's like, nope, you gotta finish. You still gotta do 10 reps. And I'm like, how? Like, like my muscles just aren't moving. He was like, well, like that's what I'm here for, right? So I'm bringing the weight down, bring it back up, bring the weight down, bring it back up. Again, this is taking a long period of time. I'm telling you, when I woke up the next day, my chest never felt, that was the tightest that my chest has ever felt, right? Like it was just like, what happened? And I've been lifting at that point, for a good like three years. right? Like I just started early. Like it was something I gravitated to. But 3 years, I've never felt that feeling before. And what happened was I already have broken down my muscles so much, right? But I did what I'm telling you guys to do. I did more work, right? And I did it slow. I didn't do it on my own, granted, but like I still moved that weight. Like my spotter didn't like pick up the weight for me. Like I still pushed my body like through the motion, was still using those same muscles after they were feeling like they were already tapping out, right? So I took my break, I get back onto the bar. We did that all over again. And the next day, man, like super sore. So again, there's something so super sore and like they're popping out a little bit. They were just swollen, right? In a good way. Again, like the muscle tears, like they're gonna break down, like it's something that naturally happens. So yeah, it was like a lot of swelling. That's really what hypertrophy is, right? Like the muscle fiber just tearing away, and you get a little swelling, white blood cells, red blood cells rush in, right? They swell the area, you get that muscular look, right? They go in, patch things up, you're good. All right. And most times that muscular look, it stays big or it looks big because they're putting down some extra reinforcement in there, some extra muscle fiber, so that the next time you use that muscle again, it's a little more efficient, right? You don't have to use all of it. You just use just enough to lift that weight. I know I'm just reiterating, but again, man, it's the same thing. Just throwing mud at the wall, seeing how much it sticks, right? Like you're picking up as much muscle as you can, seeing how much it sticks. In this case, with my spotter, I'm pushing that weight over and over, already tapping out. But man, like so much of it stuck. That's what I hope for you guys, man. So if you felt like I brushed over things like a little too quickly, some of you just weren't able to grasp. Man, reach out to me. You have my email there. You have my phone number. I just request that maybe you text me instead of call because I'll end up with like constantly on the phone, right? Like where I'm just like being called but in so many different directions. So it'll be much easier to be like, all right, like when was the last time you did, the 225, right? It was a year ago. All right, you don't want to start with that. Start with something like, start to build up some weight. You don't want to go back to your prior level of intensity, especially if it's been a while. Just build that foundation. Um, Please share this with a friend if you feel like they might need it. If you feel like you heard something that was a little different than from something like you read in a blog or something, like go ahead and like reach out to me, tell a family member, tell your girlfriend, tell your boyfriend if you felt like this was helpful, like just let me know, right? You might want to figure out how to make your arms a little more tone, not so much hypertrophy. You just want to get more tone, or I don't know, you want to work on your calves. Like reach out to me if you find like the techniques or the information I'm giving you isn't helping, and I can definitely get another video out there or just reach out to you directly, right? So yeah, man, that's it for now. Um, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Please, leave a review or something, like share. And yeah, best of luck.